Okay, we've made tables, and you'll find lots of videos on the tables. But now we want to make a query. A query is a search that you do on your table based on criteria. So let's say you wanted to see all of the customers that are from Italy, or all of the open orders, or all of the orders from last week, anything like that. That would be called a query here in Microsoft Access. So in the previous versions of Access, over here in the navigation pane or in the database window, you would see another tab that says Queries. And then right about here, when you clicked on Queries, it would say Create Query in Design View or Create Query using the wizard. Here's how you're going to make a query in this version. You're going to pick on Create. Now, if you notice under Create, we can make our tables, forms, reports, and then over here, you're going to pick on Queries. Many of the times, the queries are going to be made in Query Design. So we're going to click on that. Now this window comes up. It's called the Show Table window, and it's going to list all the tables and all the other queries that are in the database. A query is going to come from at least one table or at least one other query. So this time we're going to pick the Customers table. And then you can see that the Customers table is now in the query. We can pick more than one, but at first we're going to make queries with one table, and then later on in other videos we'll make queries with more than one table. So at this point we're going to click on Close. Okay, now I'm going to move this up a little bit so I can see that bottom of the part of the screen a little bit better. So this screen is called Query Design. Query Design has two parts. Up here it's going to show you the table or all of the other tables that are in that query. If there were more than one, they'd be listed across the top here. By the way, this box is called a field list. Those are all of the fields in a query. And then down here you're going to build your query. So now you're going to pick your fields. So let's double click on Customer ID, Company Name, Contact Name, Contact Title, and Country. You can pick as many fields as you wanted to in whatever order that you wanted to. Actually, a query can have up to 255 fields. Now you can see exactly what happened here. On the field row, we have the field name. On the table row, I have the table name. Now, when there's only one table in the query, that's kind of redundant, but if there's more than one table in the query, then that would make sense to have the table row. We want to know where that field is coming from. Then you have a sort row. If you want to sort the query, you would use the sort row. There'll be other videos about that in this series. The show row means sometimes you want to show that field and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just want to use the field in criteria only, but you don't want to show the field in the end result. So I can either show that field or not. And then we'll show you how to use the criteria in the OR row in this and in other videos. So if we were to run this query right now, it would show us every single record in the customers table, but it would only show us those 5 fields. To run the query, follow my mouse. You're going to pick on the red exclamation point up here where it says Run. So we'll click on that. Now, a query basically is just a subset of the table. So notice how it's showing you the table, but it's only showing us those 5 fields. So right away, one good reason for a query is if you don't want to use every single field. If you just want to do certain fields, we can do that from a query, as we can see. Now, if we change the information here, then it would also change the table. The data always goes back to the table, but the query is just a certain view of that table based on the fields that you selected in the criteria. Now, let's go back to Design View. And we're back to the query. Now, that query was not very interesting because it didn't have any criteria. Let's go ahead and add some criteria. Let's say that we only want to see the people from Italy. So Italy, of course, would be under the country column. So what you do is, if you notice where my mouse is, you're going to find the criteria row down here and click on the appropriate column over here. Now we're just going to type in Italy, and that's a basic query. So what this means is it'll find all of the records whose country equals Italy. We'll go ahead and run that query. Now if you notice, I'm going to scroll over a little bit. We can see now it's only showing only the ones from Italy. So that's the whole point behind a query. You ask a question, you get an answer. That question was, show me all of the people whose country equals Italy. When we run the query, we get the answer. So we'll do a few more like that, and there'll be other videos to show you other types of queries. Let's go back to design view. By the way, I always look down here, and it tells you how many records meet that criteria. So let's go back to design view again. Design view, you can either pick on the word view and then pick on design view, or you can just pick on the blue triangle, and that brings you back to design view. Notice how I put the word Italy in quotes. That's just syntax. We can type it in without the quotes, but it puts the quotes in there for us, as we can see. Now let's say we also want to see the people from Canada and Spain. So here's how you're going to do more than one value in the same field. You're going to say or, and then we'll say Canada or Spain. Okay, so if you have more than one value for the same field, typically I'll put them on the same row and separate them by the word or. And I can have as many of those as I want to. I'll separate it by the word or. So now we'll run the query. Now it says Italy or Canada or Spain. We're going to pick on run, and notice that we have some records from Spain, some records from Canada, and some records from Italy. Notice how it did not sort the information by the country. Well, we just asked for the criteria. A sort is a different step. Now from here, we can just click on that column and then pick on the A to Z to sort. And there will be another way to sort the information as soon as we run the query. So let's go back to design view. Alright, so that's how you do basic criteria. Basically, you're going to match exactly what you're looking for. Now, we can do the same thing with a number field. We can do dates. We can do currency. But your basic query is you're going to type in exactly what you want. If you want more than one value for that same field, you're going to type in the word or between each different value. All right, and that would be a basic query right there.